I think a independent record label is like a speedboat and a major record label is like a giant cruise ship. Now, I don't normally like to compare independent record labels with major record labels because I don't really feel like indie labels are like a step down from them. You know what I mean? Like some people think like there's indie labels and they're striving to become more like a major label artist. I don't think that's true. Maybe for some labels, but for the majority of the record labels in our community, it's different. It's like a small, cute little boutique mom and pop shop downtown of a cool little city versus like a heartless, cold, sterile Walmart supercenter. You know what I mean? But yet the comparison is always there. And even as independent record label owners, we compare ourselves to major labels, or we're jealous of some of the luxuries and the opportunities that they have, like a direct contact with Spotify or an easier way to get media coverage, more money to spend on advertising or worldwide distribution. Either way, there are many things that independent record labels wish they had access to, and that's why we sometimes look to the major labels. But what I want to talk about today is 5 things that independent record labels can do that major labels can't do. A huge shout out to our friends at A to Z Media who are helping small independent record labels put together really cool, bespoke, physical packages. What does that mean? I mean, like when you release a record, don't just release it digitally. I mean, for some labels, that makes a lot of sense, but I think there are millions of fans out there, and the stats are showing it, that want something physical, something tangible, something that they can collect and put on their shelf or put on their record collection. And so if you're thinking about pressing vinyl with your next release, or cassettes, or CDs, or even books or posters, reach out to our friends at A to Z Media, and they'll help you put together an incredible product for your next release. Go to atozmedia.com, and thanks to them for sponsoring today's video. Okay, here we go. 5 things that independent record labels can do that major labels can't do. Number 1 is major labels can't be there in person. I think the community aspect. You know, there's an old story of like a heartless record label executive at the back of a club and hears a band and promises them all these things and takes them out to dinner and signs them to a record deal. And then the band never hears from that guy ever again. I love that indie record label owners are often just one-person operations, and they're founded out of a place of fandom. People like me are fans of the artists that I work with. I love their music. I think that more people should hear their music. And that's why independent record label owners are more hands-on and one-on-one with the artists that they sign. They go to shows. They're in the studio. They're maybe even co-writing and doing pre-production with the band. There's a personal touch of indie record label owners that can significantly impact not just their career and their music, but also their mental health, knowing that they have someone on their team, whether that's a coach or that's literally somebody coming along next to them and just helping them out along the process. Being on the ground and being there in person not only helps you connect more with your artists on your roster, but it also helps you keep in touch with the music industry at a more grassroots level, at a more relevant level. You get to know what fans are actually caring about, what type of trends and products are resonating with the indie music community. Number 2, major labels can't make bad business decisions. In fact, for a lot of major labels who are on the stock exchange, they legally can't make bad business decisions. But independents can make bad or seemingly bad business decisions. What do I mean by that? Well, you see, a major label is beholden to shareholders or stakeholders, or they have like a number that they have to meet. And if an album or an artist falls below a certain number, then they have to kind of remove it just to keep their profits all neat and tidy. It's more of a numbers game. Indie labels can make bad business decisions like offering a more fair contract to your artist and actually splitting the profit with your artist 50-50 as opposed to getting as much out of them as possible. Indie record labels can experiment with genres and artists who aren't a guaranteed success. There's way less red tape when it comes to being an indie record label. We can do things like loss leaders, where we can give a couple records to record stores or do a giveaway online. We could even release the album to one fan 3 months early who buys the test pressing for $100. This is something a major label couldn't do because then that album would leak. We have so many advantages and things that we can do that are traditionally frowned upon in the business world. Number 3, I already kind of alluded to this, is that major labels can't provide community. They just can't. Indie labels foster a sense of community around the artists that are on the label with each other, recording and helping write and encourage and promote each of their label mates. They create community around their fans who are all a fan of the record label's brand, or more importantly, they create community around a genre or a subgenre. In fact, some of my favorite labels are labels that focus on creating community first. In fact, the community is a bigger priority than the music itself or the artists or sales. Major labels can't do this. They don't really care about community. They're just a business. They're just selling records. But indie record labels can sell more than just records. They can sell an identity. They can sell a mission statement, a charitable cause. Community is incredible for artists because not only do they have a support system and people to encourage them, but they can actually share resources and share ideas. They can share the stage with each other. They can share equipment and studio time with each other. This community is incredibly beneficial. Even this podcast, this YouTube channel is a community of record label owners. How cool is that? Number 4 is that major record labels can't be innovative. Or they certainly can't be as innovative as independent record labels. I think that indie labels are at the forefront of innovation in the music industry. And this is proven by the fact that we know major labels are keeping their eyes on indie record labels. In fact, most artists will go through this process where they'll self-release some music and then maybe work with a small local indie label, then maybe graduate to a medium-sized indie label, perhaps a larger indie label after that, and then finally a major label. So we do know that in a lot of cases, the smaller record labels are this breeding ground for what will maybe end up becoming a major label artist. And the reason for that is, like I mentioned, independent labels can take chances. They can sign a band and release a record from a band in a genre or a style that has not yet made the mainstream. Whereas a major label can't really take a chance on that. It's almost like independent record labels are product developers for major labels. I love the freedom that independent record labels have to explore diverse genres, to represent artists who are traditionally underrepresented, to press an album of pure drone to vinyl. Like, it's just this crazy stuff that a major label will be like, no, we're not doing that. We're just going to do another reissue of Fleetwood Mac for the 20th time. The agility of independent record labels allows us to adapt and to move quickly and to try something like on release day and be like, hey, actually, let's do this right now. Or it's the day before release day. What if we drop the album on Bandcamp a day before it comes out on Spotify? The amount of red tape and the fact that you legally couldn't do that for whatever reason, whatever deal with your distributor at a major label, independents just have this agility, this ability to try really cool, fun things. Finally, number 5 is major labels can't be charitable. Now, they might have like a charitable arm of their business, sure. But what I mean by this is that there's a lot of record labels, and I'm seeing it more and more. There's record labels in our community who are actually interested in operating as an official charity, registering their business as a charity. Maybe they don't feel like it's going to be a massively profitable company, and they want to turn all of the revenue back into the community, back into the artists. And so they're going to operate as a not-for-profit. But even if you're not going to that far extreme, most independent record labels are incredibly generous. They're generous in the length of terms of the contracts or the royalty splits that they do that is not traditional from the major labels. They do profit sharing at a 50-50 level with their artists. They don't rack up huge recoupables. They operate out of a place of altruism, out of a place of fandom, love for the music. They can offer loss leaders, free giveaways, and they can be more transparent with their accounting, with their processes. Now, listen, I don't like to compare independent record labels with major record labels. We're operating with a completely different objective, a completely different mission statement. But if we are going to compare them, I think we have some really interesting unfair advantages as independent record labels, and I hope you utilize them. I hope you take more chances. I hope you're more generous and more charitable with your artists and with your fan base. I hope you create a community and foster that community and be a part and active in that local community or that online community. Don't be intimidated by major labels. Don't read article after article about how they're destroying the music industry or there's nothing left of the music industry. Create something brand new. That's what I think independent record labels are doing. We're not following an old model anymore. We're creating a brand new model. That's just my opinion. Thanks for watching, and thanks to our sponsor, A to Z Media. Make sure you reach out to them and get a quote for your next physical release. Go to a to zmedia.com. Thanks for watching.